You! Can you survive the many dangers? Can you help others survive? Can you save Sunset City? Can you? For the love of God, can you? Of course you can. It's a f***ing video game.
Sunset Overdrive might be the most underrated game of all time. Is that a hot take? Yeah, but I absolutely stand by it. It is one of the most unique gaming experiences out there, and it is a shame that more people don't know about this absolute legend of an open world game. It is such a different and fun take on a genre which mostly consists of shallow shitholes that are nothing but yearly cash grabs. In this video, I'll talk about different categories such as graphics, sound design, story, and most importantly, the gameplay of this game. So without wasting any time, here's why, in my opinion, Sunset Overdrive is the most underrated game ever and why you need to play it. On PC, there is some stuttering and some poppin' which is not noticeable most of the time, but other than that, the game looks glorious. The game's graphics have aged so well, and that is mainly because of the cartoony art style. The game was ported to PC in 2018, but this game originally came out in 2014. As I've said in my review of BioShock Infinite, and probably some other reviews as well, games that go for a distinct art style always age better than the games that try to be super realistic. The game just stands out from the crowd. It's so vibrant and pleasant to look at. Whether it be the docks, the main cityscape, cyberpunk robot factories, or whatever, the game is just beautiful to look at. The color grading is beautiful. It has so much flair, and the effects look absolutely amazing in a cartoonish way. There is so much going on the screen. Sometimes there's pools of blood flying all over the place, coins and cash notes flying towards you, pickup icons glowing, and the collectibles, but the game just maintains its stellar look and its identity in every situation. And accompanying these graphics is the sound. The music in the game is mostly punk rock-esque, but it's not the kind that will irritate people who don't listen to this genre. But if you still don't like it, you can turn down the music volume in the settings. Just like Spider-Man PlayStation 4 or Spider-Man Miles Morales, the soundtrack only kicks in once there is some action or once you start moving, and sets a really good tone while you're maneuvering the city or fighting. One thing that I'm certain that most people will like is the sound effects in the game. The sound effects in the game are an absolute joy. They will remind you of older classic video games. Every pickup, every bounce, every gunshot is just distinct with a hint of exaggeration. It has a Scott Pilgrim versus the world kind of vibe to it, and they just sound very video gamey. I don't know how else to describe the sound effects. And it just sets a really good tone for the story. Consider this game's plot as basically a comedy movie where the plot is solely in service of the dialogue and interactions. The game kicks off with the release event of a new energy drink called Overdrive, which turns anyone who drinks it into zombies, or in this game's case, ODs, which is short for overcharged drinkers. Soon tens of thousands of people around the city who consumed it turned into ODs, and everything just goes downhill. It turns out that the company behind the energy drink did not do proper testing, and in order to cover up their mistake, they seal up the city. The rest is up to you to find out, and I'm not gonna spoil anything here. Now in the game you create your own character, and what I like is you can customize and change everything that you did in the start of the game while customizing your character later on as well. There's lots of goofy, wacky costumes in the game, and the game just overall doesn't take itself seriously. There is so much self-aware humor here. The game constantly makes fun of itself and pop culture references, and the characters constantly break the fourth wall like it's Deadpool or some shit. All the characters in the game are just trying to make a fun situation out of what has happened in the city. Literally every character in the game is rememberable and has some charm to them. There were genuinely moments in the story where I was laughing my ass off.
How'd you think you were gonna do that when I got this here gun?
Yeah, I got guns too.
Damn! But how do I know you can use them?
I'm an American.
Just the pure banter of the characters is handled really well here, with some of the best voice acting in any game ever. I swear that you can just tell that every actor was having a blast while recording their lines. The set pieces in the story are absolutely bizarre. Now, many of the quests are basically the same on the surface level, but every scenario is different in its own right, made more enjoyable by the dialogue and more importantly by the gameplay. Gameplay of Sunset Overdrive is unadulterated fun. The game is basically a marvel of responsive moving combat. Staying on the move is important in the game, and that's the majority of what you will be doing in it. So thankfully, the traversal in the game is incredible, and it is one of the best in gaming. There is a fast travel option in the game which you will probably never use. Sunset City's architecture makes it one of the most well thought out interactable open world video game maps ever. The game world is constructed as a playground for you to move around in style, and it constantly keeps you thinking about your next move for traversal. While most games have you get to the objective to get the fun stuff, Sunset Overdrive makes getting to the objective just as fun. You can grind on wires or rails or pretty much everything, including water. Objects like cars, trees, umbrellas, fountains become bounce pads. There's wall running, and you can boost your speed while doing any of these moves with just a tap of a button. Now, because the gameplay is a different approach from most other games in the genre, you are gonna need to get comfortable with the controls. A controller is better suited for the game than a keyboard in my opinion, and those other moves I mentioned are not even it. As you progress through the game, more options like air dashing and ground slam launching become available to you. The game emphasizes on using these methods as the normal walking speed is slow, and if you stay on the ground for too long, you'll get annihilated in the combat. While most games try to make you feel weighty and realistic, Sunset Overdrive says that and tries to make you feel as light as possible. The weapons you get from missions or buy are absolutely bonkers, and you are definitely going to be able to tell that these are the same guys who made Ratchet and Clank. Every weapon can be upgraded by just using it. There is separate ammo for every weapon, and there is no reloading at all. So what that means is you can raise hell by using weapons like 2 rocket launchers at once. You gain coins and cash from killing enemies. That's how you buy the stuff in the game, like cosmetics and the weapons I mentioned. There's health pickups, wacky icons. It's just that the game is proud to be a video game, and it's awesome, as I mentioned. As I said, moving around is key to survival in combat, but in doing so with variety and stylishly, you fill the style bar, which triggers different amps at different levels. Amps stands for amplifications, and they are basically superhuman abilities, like fireballs or shockwaves from your melee attacks, knocking back enemies trying to hit you, or spawning lava from the ground and crazy shit like that. There are also amps for weapons in the game, like electrocutions, setting fires, raging enemies, turning them against each other, etc., and you can use 1 amp on each weapon once the weapon reaches level 2. Amps can be upgraded by attaining certain amount of collectibles in the game world. Upgrades to yourself, however, are applied using particular badges earned by performing enough of an action like grinding or bouncing or killing enemies using the same gun. You get the point, man. The game is not about killing or overcoming enemies, it's about whooping their ass with style as you move all over the place and use insane weapons and attacks. Now, with all the movement in the combat, you must be wondering how the aiming in the game works. Well, aiming while moving is not hard, as the enemies have a big hitbox that if you get close to, the game automatically locks onto the target. There are mainly 3 types of enemies: humans, robots, and of course the OD. An enemy variety among these types of enemies is good. The enemies try to disrupt your movement as well with stronger ranged attacks, so paying attention to where you are going is important. You get to fight hordes of ODs in combat situations which are absolute chaos in a good way, and you also have the option to use traps to help you in these battles. The boss battles in the game are absolutely stupendous and stand out so much. They test your skills in challenging situations that are just different and over the top. For example, here's me fighting a zombie dragon in a chase across the city. The game just feels so good to play with responsive controls and great buttery smooth animations that transition seamlessly from one to the other. Sunset Overdrive's gameplay is some of the most fun you can have playing a modern video game, goddammit. Now obviously I'm only human, so I might have missed some stuff in the video, but I'm quite sure that I have covered all the essentials that you might need to know going into the game. The only mistake and the reason why this game is this underrated is that it launched as an Xbox exclusive at the worst time possible. I'm referring to the first year into the launch of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. That is literally it. If this game was a cross-platform game at launch, the sales numbers might have been different. The personality, the charming writing, the extremely satisfying movement and combat mechanics make Sunset Overdrive one of the best open world games and one of the best games ever in general, in my opinion. It is the absolute definition of a fun video game. That's all it's going for, being wild, wacky, and fun. This game feels like a phenomenal mashup of Deadpool, Infamous, and Saints Row that still has its own personality. It's no wonder that Insomniac was able to create newer Ratchet and Clank and the best superhero game of all time, that is Spider-Man PS4. Both of those games have some amount of DNA of this game in them, so guys, please consider playing this underrated gem. On PC on Steam during the Microsoft Publisher Sale, the game is only 131 rupees or $1.75, and without the sale it's only 524 rupees or $6.99. It is worth every penny. This game will remind you why you fell in love with video games in the first place, and you will most probably try to spread that love like I tried to in this video. So thank you everyone who watched this video till the end. Videos like this do take a lot of work and effort to make, so I appreciate all of you for sticking around with me. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so that you may never miss out on any future content. I have a lot of similar videos like this on the channel, so please consider checking them out as well. That's it everybody. Stay safe, stay happy, and I'll see you next time. Bye.